our next speaker, James Robinson, who was part of the Atlas collaboration for 10 years. James is a lead research software engineer at the Alan Turing Institute, where together with his team, he develops open source solutions for secure analysis of sensitive data. James, please.
Brilliant. Yeah. So, yeah, I had a similar kind of, I guess, journey to some of the other people here. Where I did a PhD at UCL in the UK. I did a postdoc at Manchester, also in the UK. I worked at Daisy, where Rasmus mentioned that he worked as well as a fellow for a bit. All of that on the Atlas experiment, and then I moved to the Alan Turing Institute, where I'm working as a research software engineer. So when I was working at Atlas, I worked across a range of different things. So jet physics, Dye-Higgs production, luminosity, Monte Carlo. I was a convener in a few different groups, SoftQCD and MC tuning and conditions as well. And yeah, I think very similar reasons to what a couple of other people have said around, wanting that job stability, wanting to be able to sort of settle down in one place, and also in my case, being closer to my family who live in London. So I've been at the Alan Turing Institute now for about 6.5 years. I really like it here. I think it's very similar to CERN. It's a research institute where ideas are really valued. I'm working with a lot of really intelligent people, again, very similar to CERN, which is nice. We're working on something that I think is, for the public good, and I feel like the stuff that I'm working on, has some immediate and some valuable impact, and I find that really important. And I get to work on a lot of different things. I can talk about a couple of them later, but really, like I've worked on, I don't know, 20 or 30 different projects while I've been here, and that's been really great. So how did I get here? So I started applying for jobs about 6 months before the end of my last contract. I was very lucky because I think I only applied for 2 jobs initially, and I got one of those. So, that worked out well for me. But yeah, I think definitely like I was starting to feel nervous coming up into the last 6 months of my contract and starting to think about like what I wanted to do next. Um, the team that I work in, research software engineering, we're really about trying to convert research code and research ideas into something that's operational, something that's going to have a real world impact, not just turn into another academic paper. So I found that although like a lot of my technical expertise was really useful, so obviously, big data was a big buzzword, like whenever this was like 6 years ago, machine learning, data analysis, all of that kind of stuff. There was a lot of experience from my time on Atlas and at CERN in general to draw on there. And obviously like programming experience is really useful. Python, like particularly, no one really cares about C++, it turns out. But yes, like Python experience is really useful. Things like, sort of writing code that's reproducible, that's usable by other people, like the quality of the code in the sense of like how easy it is for someone else to pick it up and use it. That was all really important. But actually a lot of like the non-technical stuff ended up being probably more important and more of the kind of thing that we look for when we're hiring people. So project management stuff, like any experience of sort of leading work, like leading physics analysis or, a hardware team or something, physics groups, any of that kind of stuff. And really like a lot like introspection, which I think is something that you do learn during a PhD, and certainly is, something you learn being part of these sort of larger projects, is that sometimes things don't work. And one of the most useful things you can do is to think about why they didn't work and to be honest with yourself and with other people about like what you could have done differently and how you could do things better next time. And I think that's been a really useful skill that I definitely learned at CERN. So a couple of things that I've worked on. So this job is a mixture of data science and more kind of software engineering, also AI. So I don't know if it completely fits into this moving to data science category, but data science is in the name of the institute. We're the National Institute in the UK for Data Science and AI. So a couple of things that I've worked on, identifying hate speech in tweets with the sort of sentiment analysis, a project to build a cloud-based environment for enabling secure research on sensitive data. And now I'm currently leading our environment and sustainability work on forecasting. So you can see a few examples of this. We've got on the top left is air pollution forecasting in London. Top right is a global weather forecast, and bottom right is cloud forecasting, which has been part of a project we did with a solar power company who were trying to predict the effects of clouds on solar power output and how that impacts the amount of power that solar panels can produce. So yeah, there you can go here to our website to look at jobs. There aren't too many open at the moment because we're doing a bit of a kind of reorganization where we've really focused our work on these three big themes of work that we want to make a big impact in, which are environment, defense, and health. So a lot of people are being kind of internally reorganized, and a lot of jobs are being advertised only internally at the moment. But as and when externally focused jobs come up, they will be here. So if you're interested, take a look.